good stuff.
Yeah, that's tasty. I've been drinking Bacardi for the last I don't know, while.
Yeah, it's different.
All your rum in one go here.
Drink her all, man.
We'll bust the 40 out after.
Matt's your wife working tonight?
Yeah, she is.
Nice. What time she works out?
9:30.
That's not too bad. My girlfriend sends customers to their store all the time.
Oh yeah.
All the time, yeah.
Where's she work again?
She manages the Red Wing store.
That's right. You told me that for the shoes. Yeah.
Yeah, the insoles, man. I would recommend them. Like Red Wing shoes. Go check out the insoles because you walk across this thing and it measures your whole foot out.
Shameless plug. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a sponsor, but I'm going to talk about it.
It's not like last time where we're saying everything that isn't a sponsor, then we're literally naming everything as sponsors.
Yeah, any time that you think of a product, just shout it out as a sponsor. We're just going to see what happens. Like Athletic Greens.
Somebody's going to bite one of these days.
But I'm not kidding. You walk across this pad and then you stand on this thing and it tells you how your arch changes, how like your foot width changes, and like everything. It's wild. And then you get an insole, and now I can go to work all day and come home and not be all beat up and sore. It's crazy.
I can tell my wife to stop by.
You should.
She's always got problems.
Tell her to
with
name drop me.
feet. Yeah, I will.
Tell her she heard it on the podcast. BDL Development. So cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
How you
Thanks
doing
for having
today?
me. I'm good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Right on.
It's always fun to catch up after we've hung out for half an hour.
Yeah.
But okay, so Matt, I know you as a bass player, a singer, a songwriter. You've done some Christmas songs, some birthday songs with your kids now because you're a dad now.
Yeah.
Man, so much has changed since we started talking to each other again.
Oh, I know. Back in the day, we used to just party and play music, and I can't even remember half the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fuzzy.
Yeah.
Too fuzzy.
It's amazing how that changes though, right?
Yeah.
And it's not even that's not even the music scene anymore.
I don't even know what the music scene looks like.
Well, it's
anymore.
all online
been so
now.
long.
That's why we're doing this.
Well, I remember playing alongside Splitbeard here
Oh yeah.
back in the day.
I used to be Split Beard.
Yeah.
It's still in my phone as Beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have. That's one of my email addresses.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
I love that. Your spam account
Yeah. That's kind of the one I use for.
runs your OnlyFans and all that.
Oh yeah. That's yeah. That's where you
Right.
catch all my dick pics.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'll drink to that. Shout out to OnlyFans not sponsoring this video. So what are you doing to keep not crazy these days?
Oh, a whole lot of working.
Yeah. Basement looked great.
Yeah, that's coming along. Doing some drywall today. It was not used to that kind of work, but yeah, it's going good. So
The whole home rental thing is like really popular right now too.
Yeah.
Dave's going through some of that.
Well, I'm in the process of it, trying to figure it out. Realtor's coming by tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ask who you're going with. Not on
No,
here.
no.
That's not a sponsor we need.
Yeah, no. No, they're just going to tell me whether it's worth doing what I'm planning to try to do.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Before I actually go and get a bunch of money together and dig a
sounds like
fucking
a
hole I
major
can't get out.
rental.
Oh, dude, yeah. I got a
New roof.
windows, siding,
Wow.
inside here.
10 windows?
Deck, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of coin.
It's basically I'm rebuilding this fucking thing. Like I put a whole new shell on the outside, and then I gotta kind of almost gut the inside and rebuild it. Like
This is a
didn't
dope
want
neighborhood
to,
though,
but-
man. This is a dope neighborhood. And like the market in Lethbridge right now is crazy.
Well, that's why I want to get it done now.
Yeah.
Right. The sooner I can get it done, the sooner I can get it on market.
Right.
The market's hot. Get it sold, and then pray the market crashes immediately thereafter, and then I can pick up something else for even extra cheap. You know.
Yeah.
We'll see. See if I can time that out right. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Let's put it that way.
Well, the big spring rush is coming up, so you better get on her.
Oh, yeah.
June 20th, I think, is the busiest day in real estate historically.
Really?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah, it's like the one
Somewhere in
busy
there,
day or something. I think it's June 20th. I don't know.
Well, nobody wants to move in the fucking winter.
No, fuck no.
Not in Canada.
No.
You know.
It's
Yeah.
funny you said that. We bought our house on June 18th.
Oh, really?
We did.
Oh,
There you
shit.
go.
Were they pressure closing you?
No,
No.
we were pressuring them.
Oh, good. Good. That's a good seat to be in, though,
Yeah,
right?
I'll take my money before someone else.
Because
gets in there.
you bought what last June?
Yep.
It was still a buyer's market, man. Same as us. Like we bought in July. We took possession in August,
Nice.
and the year before though, and it was right about the time when I started tilting, and then it was like they're low on inventory, so prices go up, right?
Yeah, it was actually we found this house at a really good price. Everything else around it was like 20, 30 G's higher.
Yeah.
But for some reason we got in and the timing was right. Otherwise we would have missed out.
But that's a finished basement, though. The difference, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And if you're willing to put the work in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like any of this shit. Like, look at this. Like, if you just put the work in, you can have whatever you want.
Yeah. Something
Kind
like
of.
that.
Athletic Greens is going to help us on the way.
See how many episodes we can get away with doing that before somebody we get the cease and desist.
Just,
You guys got to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You do not represent us.
yeah. Seriously. But I'm like, to be fair, maybe I need to get on the supplements because Matt and I worked out yesterday and I'm still fucked up.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun because like it's not often I get to go through and like critique someone who's willing to listen to critique. Normally it's like, no, I've been bench pressing for long enough, and it's like, okay, that's fine. But, like, you know, squat, dead, like anything like that, right? And yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was fun being challenged in that way again, because that's another thing that I've been missing out on.
Yeah. So you're getting into the workout game, eh?
Yeah, I've been trying.
Nice.
I'm on 3 weeks now. I've been going, I think,
There
3
you
times
go.
a week.
Nice.
Trying to get her back. I'd get rid of this, you know.
How's the meals been going?
Meals, they've been going good. Last week I kind of cheated a bit.
Yeah.
Had one too many bad meals, but
That'll happen.
yeah, we're doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you getting creative yet with your meals?
No.
No. Come on, man.
Sticking to this straight up bacon, eggs, and hash browns in the
You
morning.
gotta get creative. You gotta find ways not to go crazy, man. Because
Well,
okay though. I don't mind eating the same thing every day.
dude, I'm the same way. I
But
I can recite it right now, like what I eat the whole fucking day. I'm back, and I'm back on the roast beef and potatoes for supper. I'll do that for this whole 12 weeks. Like, you, Kevin, better be like legit. Like,
so we better top that up. So Kevin, I'm pretty sure this is what he told me. Kevin came in at 204, so he's got 24 pounds to lose. I came in at 175.5 this morning, and I'm gonna go down to 160 or 165. I don't remember what I said.
you said 165, I think.
Okay, well I'm gonna get below 165. I want 160. I want 160.
That's funny because it's like I'm going up from that right now.
Yeah.
So I started at 162 Sunday, 163 and a half today.
So how about you have to go to 175, and I'll go down to 160.
I had to go to 175 now.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Kevin's doing 26 pounds or something like that.
Yeah, he's losing 26 pounds.
Yeah,
I'm trying
but
to
still.
yeah.
You got 3 months.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, come on, don't be a
Alright.
pussy about it.
I
Anyway,
gotta stay lean though, Jesse. I gotta keep the abs.
hey man, Athletic Greens can help you out.
Athletic Greens, yeah, fucking better.
Start
probably
putting
better
a
than
counter
the
on the screen. How many times you mentioned Athletic Greens?
I was just gonna start scratching it in here.
I shouldn't have said I want to look like Brad Pitt because it's all leanness.
Yeah.
It's not even size. It's just fucking
Well,
leanness.
better be lean then.
Well,
be
yeah.
170. That's I don't.
We'll
care.
see.
I don't care.
We'll see. We'll see where I end up. I'd rather be fucking. I'd rather end up at 185 and be that lean.
Oh yeah,
even
fuck yeah.
fucking bigger. That'd
Yeah.
be great, but that ain't gonna happen.
You know, like there's a misconception in that though, because like the leanest I ever was, I was like 151.
Oh, dude, yeah, I realize. Like, you got to be like stupidly. Then that's what I'm saying, right? To get that lean at like to be that lean at 170 means I'd have to pack on, like, get back.
You
like,
got to buy a
fucking-
lot of drugs.
Yeah, I'd have to be like a one fucking 90 and then kind of get back down into
Yep.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, you know, it's crazy, and like you probably notice this too when you're eating. Like when you eat to plan, like you probably feel like less sweat in the day or less perspiration at night during your workouts,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And then you eat something shitty, man, and it's like you start getting it again, right?
Oh,
Immediately after I have a bad meal, I just feel like, yeah, you can feel it right away.
So yeah, I think like the smart thing to do would be have a food journal that says like how you felt after you ate something. I think that'd be smarter than like actually like calorie for calorie. And
It's a good idea.
that's the way to do it. I mean, just go by, like, you can't, everybody's so individual and so different. Like, you really can't like prescribe like, oh, these foods are going to be like
Oh, yeah,
good for
fuck
you.
yeah.
And these, like, 'cause I've played around with this for a while now. And for me, it's like anything wheat related, pretty much, is got to go. Dairy
Yep.
has got to go,
Pretty
or else
unanimous.
I feel like yeah. But then even things like tomatoes, onions, and garlic, I loved. I could love that shit. Like,
And what
I
does it
used
do
to
to
love
you?
pasta. Makes me feel like kind of bloated and
Really?
shitty, and makes my guts just not. I don't feel good. Right? There's just certain foods I can eat and I feel good, and there's certain things that I don't, right? And it's weird because even like some fast food shit, like certain fast food doesn't do it in the same way that some of these things that would be like healthy, whatever.
like garlic, yeah, like that's weird that gives you
Right?
a response. Yeah.
And I used to eat that all the time. Like, I used to eat pasta all the time with garlic and onions and like tomato sauce and noodles from fucking
Wherever,
noodles, right?
right?
Whatever types of noodles, but it's all coming from some kind of wheat based something. And I was just all the time like I thought it was just normal.
Yeah.
Cut all that shit out, and it's like now if I eat it, I can feel it immediately, like my guts kind of puff out, and then a couple days after, it's all gone. It gets out, and if I don't eat it, I'm good. But it was all trial and error, like over the course of years to figure this stuff out, to figure, oh, this works, this doesn't, this feels good. This, for me, it's like meat and like some like leafy greens and stuff, and like rice and potatoes. But like that's about it. Like if I stick to that stuff, I'm good. And body weight doesn't fluctuate very much. Everything stays pretty consistent.
Body feels good.
Well, it feels good. Yeah, like
Because
everything
there's
comes
lots of
out
other
the right
metrics
way.
to being in shape, right? Like one of them is like when you work out, how long are you sore for? Like there's no point in being sore for a fucking week, right? Like you're not eating enough food, you're not eating enough protein, right? Like and like that's part of the prescription too. It's like I don't need that much protein in my diet to not be sweaty, to not like feel like shit all the time. Or sorry, if I eat too much protein, I get too sweaty. But if I lower it, like I'm not sore for that long. So it's like I don't really need like a cup of fucking meat per meal. I can do like 4 ounces or 3.5.
Yeah, and see, I go the other way. Like when I tracked it out the last time, I think I was taking in over 200 grams of protein.
It's
a
so
day,
expensive though.
right? Well, I mean, a lot of it's like shakes too, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I'm
We're
mixing
talking
in-
about shakes.
Yeah, right. There's no way I could get that much. I couldn't eat that much fucking meat all day. I'd be eating meat all day. I mean, you get a lot of it that way, but yeah, no, that's like shakes and too. But it works out to like somewhere over like 200 grams, and I technically don't need anywhere near that. But I'd rather have a little extra, and I feel okay with it. Like
As
it
long as
doesn't,
you're not
like,
sweaty, man,
yeah,
like
it
whatever,
doesn't-
right?
Like
Yeah.
it doesn't.
It's different for everybody, right?
And yeah,
I'm
that's
still
what
learning. I'm still learning what kind of foods I can eat and what I can't.
Yeah.
Just trial and error, because I really haven't been paying attention up until the last month or so. We started talking.
Yeah.
I'm really I'm hungry to eat.
Oh yeah. And I think I mean there may be a couple universal things like sugar, right?
Well, yeah.
Sugar's not good for anybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. It's kind of poisonous, really.
It's the root of a lot of things that are viewed as poison. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's just not good for you. Promotes inflammation, all that sort of stuff. So you take out sugar. Good rule of thumb is don't eat through a drive-through.
Yeah.
If it's like really, I mean, if it's coming through a drive-through, it's not going to be good. Like you can't really delude yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I still do it. I'm not saying that I don't, because I do.
But those are all things.
But
to
I know it's
consider,
not
right?
good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to just you want the quick stuff, get the sugar out and stop going through drive-throughs, and like right then and there.
That's like worth 10 pounds, 12 pounds.
You'll
Yep.
and you save a lot of money too. Actually, truth be told, if you're
Yeah.
cooking meals at home instead of,
Yeah, no, I hear you. That's the first thing I cut out was pop and sugar and all that
Yeah.
crap, right?
Yeah,
And
right.
You do drop like
Hey, I'll
the
drink to
water
that.
weight, but yeah, so some more pop to that. Yeah,
Brought to you by Coke Zero.
go zero.
Yeah.
It's something else in there. It's not
Something
sugar.
else, yeah.
Whatever the fuck it is.
I did the low carb diet just before my youngest son was born, and I dropped 41 pounds in like 5 months or something like that.
Yeah.
All I did was walk 3 times a day and like next to nothing for
Right.
carbs.
Yeah.
But I couldn't sustain it. As soon as my son was born, everybody's tired, up all night, new baby and
Eat
everything,
what you
right?
can,
So
right?
it's just fast food for a week straight.
Yeah.
And then after that, just stopped caring and right back at it, right? Couldn't sustain it. You need those carbs. Everybody's saying, you got to go on the low carb or you got to do the keto, but it works if you can do it. But
Low
like,
weight.
I started craving all that stuff again,
See,
right?
the trick is like I still eat carbs, but it's just the type, right? So it's like potatoes and rice, like that type of thing.
And those will
as
curb
opposed to-
your sweet cravings.
because
Yes, I didn't know that. That was a good tip. You told me about the rice
'cause
there.
it's insulin sensitivity, right? So like insulin's the most anabolic anabolic hormone in the body. So the more influence you have over your insulin, the more you can be anabolic. Is the layman's terms of it, right? So like if you eat sugar all the time, then your insulin's all sporadic and crazy. You can't manage it, right? Or like
Right.
if you eat things like fatty foods and like not simple carbs, like you have like potatoes, like brown
complex
rices, the
carbs,
complex carbs, stuff like that. It doesn't give you the same insulin response. And then now you're working on things like preventing diabetes in the future.
Yeah.
You know,
Like,
like
it
there's a
still
lot of pros to it, right?
It still spikes it a little, just not
Yeah.
as much, right?
But like the more of an like there's a supplement, there's supplements you can take pre-workout and during your workout where it spikes it as much as you can, and then it's the crash that you don't want because you have a sugar crash. Like we all know what that is. But then if you can tailor that off, and then if you can start getting a meal to start like recreating and managing that insulin at a regular level again, then it's like that's how you're gonna. It's the fastest way to lose weight is to build muscle.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's
So if you're anabolic, that's gonna be the fastest way to build muscle. Therefore, the fastest way to burn weight, and it's different for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, but really, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just don't eat junk food, and if you're working out, that's gonna speed things up. If you're just looking for weight loss, drink lots of water.
Lots of water.
Yeah. I mean, and
I'm
honestly,
working on it.
It's and you know what though, you got to remember too. It's just not a sprint, right? It's not going to happen overnight. It's just a long term.
Well, the
consistency,
sprint gets
right?
you 41 pounds off and 41 pounds back, right?
exactly more than 41 pounds back.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah. So like slow and steady and just getting it into just a habit, and it's a thing you do all the time, and it's just and it accumulates. Like Kevin and I were talking about it consistency. That's the thing, right?
It's all consistency.
Like I was eating like garbage and drinking like a fish right up until I was 30. Like didn't I didn't work out. I didn't do nothing. I was like wasted every fucking day, like just eating like garbage. Like I just nothing healthy. And then I started working out a little bit because I thought, well, I need to counteract the amount I'm drinking so that I can keep drinking this much. Like literally, right? That was the
Justify it
rationale.
though, right?
That was the rationale for like, well, that was why I wanted to start working out. Was okay, well, yeah, if I'm gonna keep drinking like this, I gotta get in a little bit better shape.
Right.
And then little by little, the more I was getting in better shape, the less I wanted to drink, and you clean up your diet. And the trick was I just kept it going and kept it going and kept it going up until my surgery. I clocked like 7 years just about without. I think the most I ever took off was like 2 weeks without working out.
Wow, good for you, man.
For like 7 full years.
He's hardcore.
Yeah.
When I get into it, man, I just don't I won't stop, right? Like that was the thing. Like I never got in as good a shape as you.
I had coaches and I had nothing else. Like I didn't have a family. I didn't have a daughter. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend to manage and I couldn't even do that at the time. and I had to be fair, I had 2 jobs. So that was pretty crazy. But
still, I never got to as big and as lean as you were. But then at the same time, like I don't deviate a lot either.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I've come and gone. So many times.
Like you've gotten like way bigger and then way leaner and way bigger, and that's like that's cool too.
Yeah.
But like for me, like I've never gone like to those extremes, so it's just been kind of like a little by little by little.
I wish I didn't do that though. There's like you see all those old bodybuilding things where people put on 30 pounds to lose 25 pounds and
all
gain
that
2
bulking.
pounds. Like there's no point, man. You may as well just feel. It goes back to the same conversation. Like, do you want to be hot and sweaty all the fucking time? Or you just want to look half decent and then just cut down when you need to, right?
Well, they call it main gaining.
Oh yeah.
Greg Doucette was the one who throw it out on there. He was the one who started saying that all the time. But like the idea is you keep your body weight, like you stay at whatever your caloric intake. Let's say you get leaned out, like so that you're reasonably lean, and then you start building muscle, and you don't bulk per se. You just until you stop building muscle, you don't add significant calories. Then you add a little bit more calories, right? You add 300 to 500 a week or whatever if you're really going to track it. And then when you stop growing, you add another 300 to 500 a week until you stop growing. And that way, you're never putting on excess body fat ever, right? So you don't ever have to cut. You're always just slowly.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'd rather just like do bench press than be on a treadmill, right?
Absolutely.
Like, seriously.
Oh, I fucking hate cardio. I should do some because my heart probably and lungs could use it. But I don't know. Fuck, man. Out of those 7 years, I probably did. I don't know. A day of cardio. You know what I mean? Like barely any.
Oh yeah.
Barely
I thought
any.
you were. I thought it was you that was the that thing. I thought you used to go on that thing every day, but that wasn't you.
I'm like at my best, like 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Like 10 minutes to warm up before I lift weights. And it was all just like I didn't fucking care about running. I just wanted to lift weights. Weightlifting is fun. Running's not fucking fun. At least for me, it's not.
But like you'd never worked out before either, right? Just started.
No, I didn't work out until first time I ever worked out. I tried P90X. Stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Don't try that, folks.
That is not a sponsor.
I had no idea what I was doing. No idea how to lift weights properly. No idea about form. Just watch a video and get going. I'm going to get bulked up for the first time in my life. I was like 27 or something stupid like that. Never touched anything before that because, like you, I didn't care. I just party hard.
Yeah,
and
right.
with
Rock and
friends.
roll.
Yeah,
just going out and getting wasted and fucking play. Yeah,
exactly. And then you try and do it, and I ended up wrecking my shoulders. They're still to this day. They're just screwed up.
Yeah.
So I mean, stupid mistake. Wish I could change it, but
yeah. I blew my right shoulder out within like 3 or 4 months of working out, and then I went, was it almost a year with like doing barely any chest for the first like year of working out because I fucked my shoulder up so bad by just bad form and like picking up weights wrong. And I think it wasn't even actually like during like benching anything. It was picking up a dumbbell from like back and then like and just I tore something. I fucked it up, and it took a long time to heal because I didn't know what I was doing, and it was stupid. So
that's the crazy thing, man. Like, there's no prescription because it's the same thing as when you're like with diets and nutrition and with exercise. Like, it's different for everybody. Yeah, you know what I mean. And like you really have to listen to your body. Like, one of the things is like, man, like people who go to the gym at 6 a.m, like that's great. I love going to the gym at 6 a.m, but my body likes being there at 6 a.m. There's some people whose bodies it looks like they're gonna break. Just being up that early, you know what I mean?
I'm a morning guy too. I tried switching over to afternoons and evenings once for a little bit.
Just different.
I can't do it. I cannot keep it up. If I had to work out after work every day, I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't do it at all.
It's because you need new insoles for your shoes.
Yeah.
I bet you
back to our sponsor. Yeah. But no, like I'm a morning guy for that. You know what I mean? Get up in the morning, eat breakfast, and then work out, and that works.
See, that's why I need you to sell this place and buy a new place so I can come over really early in the morning and do recording in the morning, because I think that I would prefer recording in the morning. Not this. No.
Like I actually like that was the other thing too. Like I used to be a night owl, and somehow I've turned around to I do my best like songwriting and mixing and everything that in the morning.
Oh, you're so much more creative.
Yeah, for whatever reason. I don't.
Also, because we're old and we fall asleep really early now.
Yeah, I guess that's it too. Yeah, by the end of the day, you're too fucking tired. Your brain's gone. You got no creative energy. No nothing left.
Done.
So how's that all changed being a dad? I don't know how long you've been a dad for, so I have so many questions.
I've been a dad for my oldest son. I adopted him. I met him when he was 2.
Wow.
So technically, I've been a dad for 8-9 years now.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I thought it was somewhere in that. Like my daughter's 8, so
yeah. So my son's 10 now, and then I've got a 5-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son, and they're both soon to be 6 and.
I met them both yesterday,
4.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe just pull your mic up.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
that's all good. You pull it towards you.
We have all this nice processing, Matt. You gotta let it light up.
Yeah. But no, it's been great. Having kids is awesome. It's hard, but it's awesome. Yep. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you're like obviously your wife is like cool enough to let you like come out and do this, right? Shout out to all the cool
she's
wives
great.
out there.
Yeah.
She seemed dope. I mean, I met her for 35 seconds, but she seemed dope.
35 seconds.
But like so like I'm gonna steer this like an interview question almost. But like how has that impacted being a musician for you?
Good question. Definitely a lot less music than I used to play.
Yeah.
A lot less time that I've been able to spend doing it, but I don't mind it. Like I love recording. I've gotten really into the audio side of things the last few years. Love it. Love playing music still, and I love teaching music to my kids. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm okay with taking a step back and just hanging out with them. Because being a dad is a different kind of challenge. I mean,
oh yeah,
like you've got to not just teach them skills and things in life, but you have to. What am I trying to say? You got to emulate that to them. Like they watch you, right? Everything you do, like they're like a sponge.
Little sponges.
Like I'll be sitting eating breakfast at the dinner table in the morning, and my daughter will be beside me eating breakfast too, and I won't notice, but she'll be copying everything I'm doing. Mm-hmm. It's the cutest thing she does, but you like they watch so closely at what you're doing. So you got to make sure that your facial expression, everything is just on par. Mm-hmm. So it's a different challenge. You got to be aware more of yourself than I ever had to be before, right?
That was a really nice compliment to being married that a friend of mine said he's like, it's the first time that I've been like not forced to, I'm gonna use the word forced, but like forced to think about not just yourself and someone else for like good purpose. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like that's a really like nice way of putting that actually.
Yeah, and it's 10 times or a million times more when you have a kid.
Oh, I bet.
Once like it's a whole different feeling. Like when I saw my daughter for the first time when she was born, it was like, yeah. Like that day, I'll never forget. I'll never forget that minute.
Right.
The first time I held her, like never. Like it's ingrained into my mind. Like, and I have a horrible memory. Fucking horrible.
We know how much Dave drinks and smokes weed.
I
and
smoke
all
a
that.
lot of weed. I smoke a lot
Can we
of
get a
weed.
cannabis sponsor? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's fucking Canada.
Tweet out there.
Somebody.
It's Canada. Very nice.
It's Canada.
But that's a life-changing event, though. You'll never
yeah.
forget that. Doesn't
No.
matter how much weed you smoke, buddy.
no.
You know what
never.
though? We've been talking about this, and I think you'll resonate with this too. But it's like it seems like we used to allow so much like negativity and like lower vibrations into our lives, and now it's like the more like bright things that we like attract or try to like put out there for like the secret, as it were. It's like, you know, like all those things come back too, and it's like it's neat to see that like the unison is there. And I had a point that I was going with this. It's neat to see the similarities, and it's neat to see that you can decide what your new standard is, right? And it's like so like if your standard is like, I'm a musician, but I'm gonna put that on pause to be a really good dad, then when you come back to being a musician, it's gonna mean that much more to you. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's like once you've had a taste of the brighter side, you're not going back to the dark.
Yeah.
Like I don't got time for negativity these days.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't.
Yeah.
I
It's
can't
not
have it in
worth
my life.
It's not
right?
worth it, man.
Yeah, I've come around to this whole idea of separating myself from people that are not conducive to where I want to go. You know, because there's a lot of people that in your life that they don't necessarily have the same mindset. They don't share the same goals. They don't have the same even just outlook on life in general. You know, and it's good to have like various things around, you know, different opinions, different whatever.
Yeah.
But when it's like
When you have to compromise yourself to appease somebody else,
Yeah.
that's where you should be drawing the line.
when
You
it's
shouldn't have to
bringing
do
you
that.
down, and when it's not building you when it's not
Exactly.
building you up anymore, and it's just tearing you down, and you feel lesser. Because I've noticed that, like certain people
Yeah.
now that there's certain people that I feel elevated from, and I feel more like I'm the real me,
Right.
right? And then there's other people that I used to feel completely fine around, that now I feel kind of like.
Do you think that's an awareness thing though? Because it's like, you know, you cut out all the like shitty food, and you start to notice, oh, when I eat dairy, I'm anxious all the next day, or like whatever
absolutely.
happens. And then it's like, so now you're aware of your body, and you want to honor your body. You're willing to do things like sacrifice like fun foods. You know, you dedicate an hour a day to working out, and it's like, and then you're just gonna let someone else take that away from you. Like, there's no way.
It's the idea of like all the work you do mentally, you know, and then being around people of dark or negative energy, it just takes you back, you know. It
Well, it's that slippery slope. I'll speak for myself. I've been so used to being in that river that well is run deep, right? So it's like to go back there, it's an easy jump. Like I've done it a million times, right? But it's like what's scary is like progressing through. So actually we didn't cheers to this, but 2,000 subs on YouTube. That's the scary thing, right? It's like every time it grows and it's like more like affirmations and stuff, it's like it gets a little scary because you're not used to it. But it's like that's where like that whole thing of like do things that that make you feel uncomfortable. It's like this is something that makes me feel uncomfortable because it's consistent and it's for my betterment. It's for me and my growth, right?
That's right.
And it's like I've been so conditioned to like, well, you have to benefit other people. You have to do it for other people. You have to do it for this person, that person. It's like, fuck that, man. Like I didn't do fitness for anyone else. I didn't lose 100 pounds for anyone else. I did it for me. And it's like when you forget that and you lose that shit, man, it's like that's where things get twisted.
Well, that mindset, you start thinking that you're selfish.
Yeah.
For
dude,
wanting
people
to
tell
better
you you're
yourself.
selfish.
Yeah, that's not
dude,
right.
oh yeah, people have a tendency to people. I don't know.
We've talked about this.
Yeah, I think we. I don't know if we maybe even talked about it on the last podcast.
I don't
don't remember now, but
I think you did.
we probably did. But yeah,
Matt's our number one friend, so he number one fan, so he knows.
Matt actually watched it. Yeah. When you came in today and you're telling us, oh yeah, this and that, the thing on the pod. I'm like, fuck, somebody watched this.
It's a weird feeling.
Somebody
right?
listened to this. Yeah.
I got a prime example for that. We were just talking about there.
Okay.
Back in the day, playing in a band, doing the Battle of the Bands, routine around the city. Now, I was in a band. I'm not going to name any names, but we're sitting there at I think it was Tommy G's one time, and we're watching all the other
Tommy
bands
G's.
playing. We're at the table watching the bands, and I'm thinking, yeah, these guys are great. Oh, that's a wicked solo from that guy. That singer's awesome. I look across the table, and all they're doing is picking them apart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did you see that? He just screwed that one up. Oh man, he was off key there for me. They're just picking the bands apart.
Yeah.
It's just negative, right? And it's because, for me anyway, I think it's because they see the insecurity in themselves. They see how awesome their stage presence was, right? I'm like, yeah, this is great. they're not liking it because it's a reflection on themselves. Like they think they should be better for some reason.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
It's not a competition. It's supposed to be a community of people. You know, music is not about that. And if it is for you, then I mean, you got the wrong reasons ahead of you.
Well, it's funny like the way you phrase it with that for music. It's the same in life, right? It's the same with anything. Like you can take that same philosophy. You know, people picking things apart, and it's people's own insecurities. I think sometimes when you do start on a path of change and self improvement, like you said, it highlights the lacking or the shortcomings
in
them. Right. People they see themselves and go, oh, this guy's doing this now. I don't feel as good about me. Right, like I'm not doing anything. What does he think? He's so great, you know. And then the defensive stuff comes up, and
was it like the lobsters in the tank? Right, they're stuck in the bottom of the tank, and anyone who tries to swim up and escape, they get pulled back down. Right, not because of any reason, just because we're stuck, and so you're going to be stuck too.
Misery loves company.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's funny because they'll bitch about their company too.
Oh yeah.
See, but like even to run that deeper, like like I have people in my life I have to be careful with because when I'm with them, I eat like I'm still a fat kid. You know what I mean? It takes me right back there because it's like my skin and bone friends will go to Costco and eat a poutine and chicken fingers and 2 pizzas. I'm like, I can't do that, man. Like I'll pay for that, like both mentally and physically for so long. But it's like, the other side that you got to be careful of is people who will say, hey man, like, just have a piece of cake. It's my birthday. I made it for you. And it's like, that's not a part of my life anymore, man. Like, don't tempt me with that shit, right? Do not bring me to the dark side because I will crave. But like, that's a different tier of friend too. And like what you're allowed to do, right?
Yeah, well, that's it's a difference whether somebody's supportive of what you're doing and okay with it, or whether they
supporting themselves
and just And I mean, it depends on what place they're coming from.
I'm being harsh.
I know what you're saying. 'Cause some people, it's just, oh yeah, have a piece of cake. We made it. Everybody's having cake. Okay, whatever. But then there are some people where it's just like they're coming from a place of, I'm jealous of what you're doing, or I'm, makes me feel lesser than because you're doing something more.
Yeah,
I want you to. Yeah,
you're progressing in life and I'm not. So tone it down because you're making me look bad.
Yeah,
kind of deal, right?
exactly. And I'll be honest, like I was guilty of like shit like this before, right? I look back now, and for me, it's funny. I was talking to somebody else about this today. That one of my major insecurities in life, I think, comes from early childhood and finances, right? Without getting into all the details, I basically had what you would call a scarcity mindset kind of drilled into me, and that's bled out into my life in all sorts of other ways, right? So I would look at people who did have success and, that were doing well for themselves financially. Not to say, rich people, wealth, but even people that,
from where you were, you're describing them as rich people.
Yeah, exactly. And rather than going, oh, how do I get that? I was just
lucky break. The dad did it.
Yeah, fuck those guys. They're born into it. Oh, they got something I did. They had a chance I didn't have. They got an opportunity I didn't get. It's not my fault. I don't have the things I want and the what. Later on in life, like I would look at it that way, right? But it came from being a kid and, growing up not always so well off, right? But it stuck with me, But now I've learned that that's not going to get me anywhere. Like it's really not in any way, whether that's finances, whether that's relationships with people, whether it's anything, right? If you're coming at it from a perspective of, oh, well, fuck that guy. He got lucky. Coming up with excuses why you can't do things, then you're always going to be where you're at. You're never going to get.
And you'll attract people that are full of.
And you get and you bring other people around you like that, and then it's just a self-perpetuating.
You're growing
thing.
that dark cloud above your head. You just add more to it.
Well, then like back to the like survival thing. It's like you probably surround yourself with people like that, so you feel less singled out.
Yeah. You feel like it's normal. It's okay. It's okay to be like this. It's we're all
like this.
Yeah.
Validation from like-minded folks. Yeah.
I could. You know what? Like like we'll get into this later, but like when I met Richie and when I started doing sound and everything like that, like I was only in grade 10. I couldn't buy Warby a beer. I had to buy him a ginger ale when I asked him to teach me what he was doing.
Yeah.
And I said, what do you want? You want a drink? And he said, sure, I'll take a Bud. And I said, I can't get you a Bud. I said, how about a ginger ale? And he said, sure.
I can't get
Rest
you
is
a
history.
Bud.
Yeah. But you know, like it was really isolating because it's like I didn't want to sit in high school and do high school things. I wanted to build PAs and build lighting and run cables and talk about all that shit and learn how to solder and stuff. And man, it was so isolating. But then like what's neat is that like I was fortunate enough to pursue that, and I was fortunate enough to be a musician for as long as I was, and I'm fortunate enough to have like supportive friends around me. But it's I gotta stop rambling because I keep losing my points. But it's been a big transition, and like me staying true to that, it's like now I have a platform where we can do this, where people do want to hear those things, and it's less isolating, which is actually kind of cool about like the future of everything, really, technology, music, production.
Yeah.
Your friend circle, the people you surround yourself with, the
Yeah,
content you, because that's another side of taking in, what do you call that? Like, there's more than digesting calories. You digest the content and the people around you too, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, everything, it all affects you, right? It's the mind affects the body, and the body affects the mind. So if you're taking in a lot of negativity and you're really stressed out, your body is going to be affected by that. I've felt that personally, and vice versa. If you're eating like shit and you're, you know, really out of shape and everything, like your mental state suffers from that as well, right? So it's all works in tandem. You got to look after your mind, you got to look after your body, you got to look after everything, you know.
Well, then now you guys mix kids in, and so you have to be self-compassionate about that and what you got going on. So I just realized that how much of a handful that is.
But you know that can help.
Yeah,
You know, it mentally, anyways. You know, I find a lot of times I just watch my kids. If they're just playing with each other, I just find myself watching them, and it brings me joy just to watch that. And be like,
That's so dope.
That's awesome.
That's so dope.
Yeah, having my daughter around is like what usually kind of keeps me more like if I'm having a really shitty day or I'm like really stuck in my own head, and if I come home and it's just me here, I stay that way.
You dwell on it.
You dwell on it, right? Whereas if I come home and it's the week that she's here with me, well then
You're forced to change your perception and your
exactly.
not your
Is that
perception,
kind of
but
like the
your-
fake it till you make it? Like you put on the dad hat, and then it's like 20 minutes later you're actually happy and you're being dad again?
Something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, exactly. Right?
I
Like it
gotcha.
just
You're forced to realize there's better things in life than you sitting there dwelling about.
yeah,
what happened in your
it breaks
day.
the feedback loop.
Yeah.
Well, the only
Hey, that's a
only
good way
person
to
that
put it, yeah.
the only person that gets to choose like what you feel is you. So it's like if you're letting yourself like sit in that like worry or like that kind of like whatever the situation is, mine's self-doubt. So it's like if I let myself sit there, like I'll do it to myself, and like I can tell when I'm getting anxious because I ruminate and I can't get out of it. But like, you know, I'm fortunate where I have a girlfriend I can just walk up to and say, hey, I'm stuck in this, like distract me for 20 minutes, right? But I guess the kid thing would top up to that.
It's yeah.
I'm trying to relate where I can, and
Yeah,
all I have is
no,
dogs,
I
a
get
cat,
you.
and a girlfriend.
Don't mean to leave you out here, but
Yeah.
Well, that's
I'll show
okay
myself
because I got a kid and a cat right now. So yeah.
Yep. You have a little tiny dog. You
little
haven't met
tiny
my
dog
dogs
and
yet.
2 cats.
Yep. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw one.
Yeah, the other one was probably sleeping under the bed or on the bed.
Yep.
He's lazy.
Yeah.
So you got a full house then.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's got a
full
beautiful house too, man. Big, like 100-year-old piano right on the main floor. That made me so
nice.
happy.
Oh, that's-
Every family with young kids should have a
Love it.
piano in it, one way or another. That's my opinion. There's one right there. There's one in your house.
Well,
I don't have a piano.
mine's not 100 years old. It's
I didn't say you needed that to have a
yeah.
kid.
I need to have a 100-year-old piano.
Yeah.
Old Steinway or whatever.
Whatever they
You
were.
don't have to, but it certainly helps.
But it helps.
Yeah. Be a lot cooler if you did.
All right.
Okay, I'll drink to that. I'm glad that got picked up on. Most of my references on YouTube don't get picked up on.
No?
No, I had one from a TV show called Community, and I
cool.
reference that show all the time.
Yes.
All the time. Like probably every third video I reference it, and finally somebody said something.
That was a great show.
It was
I've
so
never
good.
seen that one.
What?
No, I haven't.
So when Dave's self wallowing, and when your daughter's not here, you're gonna call me, and we're gonna watch Community
Oh,
together.
okay.
That's what we're gonna do. Yeah, because
yeah.
it is so funny.
It is.
I not kidding. Like when I first got introduced to that show from Kevin, actually, I would make up excuses why I couldn't stay late at work and why I couldn't hang out with my friends so I could go home and watch it. It was the only show ever in my life that's happened. It's the only show ever. I've never experienced that from another TV show. It was wild.
That was the big original claim to fame of the X-Files back in the 90s.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, it was because it was on Friday nights, and it kept people in on Friday nights. It was such a big cultural thing back in the day.
I remember crowding on the TV watching the X-Files with the family.
Oh, fuck, that was a big deal back in the day, man. That show was huge.
Oh, yeah.
Freaked me the fuck out when that one when the aliens are all around the guy in the bed there at the beginning of the episode. You know, they do the little whatever just to start it out. Yeah. Oh my fucking God, that scared the piss out of me. I was only a kid. Oh, I was afraid aliens were coming for me.
Oh yeah.
Every fucking night I thought they were coming.
It was the one where they were stuck in the goo
show.
and they were like rubbing their wrist and
man.
all, they captured Scully or something.
Yeah, there was so many. So many good episodes of that.
Good ones.
That hillbilly incestuous family that they kept the mother in the box under the bed. Yeah, fuck. Oh,
Jesus
Christ.
Christ.
We're gonna have to get you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Jesse's gonna get us community blah blah. Oh yeah, do you remember that episode of X-Files where they kept the mom under the fucking bed?
I don't want to bitch, and I don't want to toot my own horn here, but in my correct opinion, that's just more negativity to add to your life.
Negativity.
And I don't need that fucking negativity. We're on season 8 of Criminal Minds, man, and there are days and weeks where I'm like, nope, can't watch it. Can't watch it. It's too much sometimes.
Yeah.
Honest to God, I'll leave every once in a while.
Oh man,
I can't do it.
I just finished. I guess part 1 of season 4 of Ozark. I don't know if you guys ever watched that one. Yeah. You want to talk about dark, in a different way, but it's just oh my God, this fucking show.
My mom thought that was gonna be Ozark Mountain Hillbillies or something like that. So she gets into it. She's like, "What's Jason Bateman or whatever his name is doing in this?" And then she's like, "Oh, this is not what I thought it was."
No. That show's dark for a different reason.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh man,
I haven't watched part 4 yet or season 4 yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No spoilers.
Well, no, it's they just keep digging the hole deeper. They just keep digging it deeper.
Probably
the
quite
whole
literally.
time. The whole time they just keep getting in deeper. Yeah, it just keeps getting worse. Bodies are piling up.
Wow. Yeah, it's not for me, man. I like funny stuff. I like learning. But you know what? I will admit, and this is gonna sound really weird, but the more time I spend making videos for YouTube, the harder time I have watching other stuff. If that makes sense. And it's not even so much when you're in a cover band and you play Sweet Child of Mine 760 times and you get tired of it and it plays on the radio and you're like, I could just fucking jump out the window right now. But it was never like that. It was close though. If that makes sense.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Maybe it's because you have a different perspective. You know the work that goes on behind the scenes and you're wore out by the time you're done with your own stuff. It's I'm not going to watch anything else today.
Maybe. There's so many people out there watching it. I don't want to derail the YouTubes or anything. That's the first time we've gotten a screensaver.
Oh yeah.
It's not going to mute anything, or I guess we can still hear it here.
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess I could. All I got to do is move the mouse.
See, the nice thing about having the big TV here is you can tell that we're actually talking.
Oh yeah, we definitely are. I mean, at some point there's going to be a logo on there. We're going to do something. That was the original idea why I wanted to set the room up this way, was so we could have a logo on there.
You do all your own stuff. Do you do photo or any digi design stuff?
I don't know.
No.
Nope.
That's okay.
Never got into it.
Yeah, me neither.
I did for a while. I was doing show posters for people, different things. Yeah,
I got a tattoo artist in my house. Let's make him do it.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, he pays for all that photo editing stuff. Although Dave and I did a photo shoot in my basement last night or the other week, and it turned out not bad.
Yeah, we did do a little photo shoot there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I stripped
it,
down. I got on the bear-skinned rug and
back to the OnlyFans sponsor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Do you want to?
It's actually just Dave's OnlyFans. It's not OnlyFans. It's just Dave's OnlyFans that pays us.
That's right. I've got a loyal following. Middle-aged men.
Yeah,
lonely old men.
That's okay. You know what? Lonely old men need loving too.
That's right.
Yeah, Dave is pretty.
Spreading the love, buddy. Spreading the love.
Spreading the love.
So I'm gonna take handle of this conversation. So Matt,
do that. I'll be right. I gotta grab a little gizmo here. My mic's just flopping around.
Well, it's all backwards on there. That's why.
Oh, probably. And I'm gonna go get more rum too.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I would love some ice.
Ice.
I was interested in your outboard gear because I haven't seen real outboard gear in a long time. Since I think I owned outboard gear.
I don't have a whole lot of it, but
No, but it's interesting that you have, like, in my opinion, the right things.
well, I like to think I love like I've got a voice channel and a Pro VLA2. Love connecting those together, especially for vocals. Man, it's
those
so
Pro
clean.
VLAs, they actually
Love
get a lot of love out there. Like, I've watched a lot of videos now.
I'll grab
Yeah,
ice.
There
You
are a lot
guys
of
keep
pro,
talking gear.
there are a lot of pro studios. You
Yeah.
watch those, like
Yeah, you'd be surprised
Yeah.
how many of those you see. Yeah, they say it's one of the
no thanks.
they say it's like one of the best bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Like dual channel comps you can get. Yeah.
Oh, it's affordable, but man, it's so
Yeah.
clean.
That's
and,
what I mean,
It sweetens everything up if you use it right.
I thought I fucked this up. No. Yeah, no, man.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
those.
love it.
Yeah, I was gonna actually no. I had what did I? Yeah, I had a set of I had one rack of those, and I had a voice channel. I had the pro channel too once when I had my like studio when I was over at my house on the west side.
Yeah.
Because I had a whole rack of outboard stuff, and yeah, I had those guys. So I had a couple other things, but yeah, those were great. They were just great comps.
Yeah.
For what they were, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I run into the voice channel most of the time when I'm doing vocals. Do my little EQ on there. De-esser in there is okay.
Yeah.
And a little bit of compression from the voice channel, and then run that straight into the Pro VLA2, and then that's where you hammer on a bit more compression.
Yeah.
By the time it gets back, the signal gets back into your your DAW or whatever. It's if you got it set up right, it's awesome.
Yeah,
Love it.
yeah. Like I said, bang for buck. Those are a good little unit.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
I'd love to have a lot more outboard gear, but
Oh, yeah.
that was good.
so like, is there much of a difference from like digital to analog? Like, I know that like saying guitar processing, it's nuts, but like, is there that much of a difference now?
I mean, there is. Yeah,
in
there's
sound quality, like
there's
in the
still-
output.
Like they still say, yeah, like it's. I mean, plugins have gotten a lot better over
Yeah.
the years, a lot better.
They sure have.
But they, yeah, I mean, it's still different because you're running through circuits, transformers. You know, each piece can potentially have its own characteristic and sound, right? Because it's being manufactured with physical parts.
Yeah, you
Right.
could give it a name because it's not like
Yeah.
one Pro VLA is not the same as the next one.
Well, that's
Like
just it, right? Like,
that's
yeah,
exactly
there's always the potential for like subtle variation in it. Whereas a
3 in a
plug-in-
million is supposed to be the standard of quality.
yeah,
3 out of a million are supposed to be. But the thing is you can't have two identical pieces because there's
it's
It's
nearly
impossible.
it's pretty much impossible. But digital, it's not
Yeah.
right. It's
Right.
it's the same every time over. So, but yeah, there's definitely still a difference in it. I mean, most guys today, I think what they're doing, like, if they have the money and they have the setup for it, is you record your tracks in the box, so digital, right? Just because working with actual tape reels is
renting rooms and
just having like a tape machine, like it requires a lot of maintenance and a lot of setup, right? Like it's not
Yeah,
you don't just hit play and go like a cassette deck. Like there's way more to
or
it.
VHS decks.
Or like I had a VHS tape. Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot more to it, right? So it's not easily accessible for most people to just jump in and go, and it's expensive, and you got to have tape. You need the space for the stuff. So a lot of guys, like if it's not purely just in the box, it's what they call like a hybrid, right? Where you've got something like Cubase here or whatever. You've got your interface, or you got converters, or you got whatever.
Preamp.
And and then you're using external. You might use like physical rack pre's or comps or EQs or something. Some guy I've heard it said, you want to build if you're building a home studio, get the best stuff you can get, for the reasonable money, and then build yourself what they call a golden channel. So that's where you get like a really nice single pre, a really nice comp, a really something a little higher end, right? Like that might be where you spend your money and get like a 1176 clone or something, right? And then you've got it set up so you got one channel that you just you got the goods on that one,
right.
right? And then if you're doing drums or whatever and you need 16 ins or something, okay, well you use a couple of the 8-channel digital guys that I've got, right? You do what you can do, but like say for your vocal, your main vocal, okay, you run it through that golden channel with all the good stuff, right? All tweaked in just nice. You know, so there's a place for. I think today it's most guys. It's just easier to do it all digital. But if you can,
convenience. Yeah,
it's convenience, and I mean that's what I do. That's what I do now. If I could, in a perfect scenario, you know, I'd probably have just a few select pieces of outboard gear to have that one really just
blow you away.
Just really nice, you know, really you get a little of that analog coloring in it.
Right.
And you still get the convenience of editing and everything digitally, which is, you know,
good input equals good output. I was talking about that in one of my last reaction videos. It's like if you have a digital DAW and like what you have going on, where you have like a really nice channel and it's just like sounds the way you want, that's going into the computer good, it's gonna sound good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it definitely makes mixing a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and there's some times where I mean, it can be limiting in the sense that whatever decisions you make, you can't undo. Yeah. So you have to be more careful doing it that way. But as long as you are,
it's right.
Well, yeah, to a degree, I guess. I mean, I'm really bad for going back and making revisions forever and ever and ever and ever.
I'm so the opposite. Like even if something is a little bit harder, I'll just do it the same because I know it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's almost like a brain thing. It's like I learned how to do it once and I'm not willing to relearn it, even if it's easier.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's what it feels like.
I mean, I guess we're talking about maybe a couple of different things here, like because I'm just talking like going back and say recording over and over, making tweaks over and over and over. Yeah. But I also like, I'll be honest, I like learning new ways of doing things because it's kind of made me more conscious of what I'm doing, and made me think about why I was doing the things I was doing, because some of them I was just doing because I was doing them. You know, I picked it up along the way.
That's a very prophetic statement,
right? You pick up well, you do, right? You pick up something along the way. You forget where you got it from or why you thought it was a valuable thing to do at the time, but it became just a part of your habit of, well, I always do this, so I'm going to go on here and wait a minute, why the fuck am I going on here and do it? Like, why am I cutting this, or why am I? Hold on.
Why am I throwing a compressor on the bass? I might not need to.
Well, you might
not.
You
might have a compressor already.
Right, I mean, you might not, but that's the thing. Yeah, you're questioning why you're actually doing it rather than just doing it for the sake of, oh, well, I've always done it, so I just do it now. It's like, well, no, hold on, listen to the source, listen to the, you know, see, does this actually make sense for me to be doing it? Do I need to pile on plugins, or did I get a really good source signal? Does it sound good enough already? You know, and then of course, I always go, well, even if it sounds good, I could make it sound better, right? It could sound even better than better. Right? Oh, it sounds better now. Oh, it could sound better than that. Oh, well, that sounded good on this. I'm going to try the same thing on these tracks, and then these tracks, and those tracks, and before I know it, I've fucked up the whole mix and have to start up over again because I went completely overboard. And that's
year later,
where
you're still working on the same song.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, I got past some of that to the point where I can actually get things done. But there's a part of me that, like, man, I love going back and remixing shit.
Well, it's easy to get caught up in that.
I love it.
There's so many different avenues to go when you're mixing, especially when it comes to the new digital age. Like, you can put literally anything on it.
Anything.
Right? Like, the weirdest things you can think of, sounds you normally wouldn't combine, you can combine, and then you can mess with them. And
like a flange on toms. We did that on a record once, and it was like, whoa! It's like, it sounds like it's underwater. The song was called Underwater.
Spread the wave file out in slow motion.
Flip things around.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, there's really no limit to like what you can create. So it just comes down to how creative are you, and what can you concoct, what can you devise, what's in your mind, right? And then can you get that out? Or sometimes it's not even what's in your mind. Sometimes you get good stuff just by playing around with no idea at all. Yeah. Happy accidents, yeah.
You know what, though? Like, that's an interesting thing, too, because it's like, if you get handed this, you're going to get someone like me who won't, like, I will try to figure out a way to make it work, but I won't dig into it like that just because it freaks me out. Just like anything that you give me that's a challenge, that's different, that is in my control, it'll just freak me out.
You know what's funny, though? I have a little of that in me, like, because you don't see it with this stuff, because I dig fucking deep into this. But I need to get into video editing, right? And I haven't even touched it yet.
But it probably freaks you out, right?
Well, there's a part of me, right, that's I don't know if freaked out is the right word, but there's definitely an apprehension to get into a new, okay, I'm gonna try this new thing. I gotta learn this new software. Okay, it's not comfortable. It's not as this I know. I turn it on.
Yeah, this is your space.
My
Right?
space. I get in there. It's like, oh, I can figure out whatever bullshit's going on with my rig, enough to make it work anyway. But yeah, like the idea of taking on a whole new skill set or whatever, or even just being on camera. It's a funny thing because I started out, on stage, you want to be a rock star. You're gonna be out there on, you're gonna have music videos on
Millions of people.
MTV and Much Music back in the day. For those of us in the '90s who still watched that stuff when it was on television.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to MTV. Yeah.
Cheers to being old.
Hey, fuck you guys. I turned 30. I turned 30 in July.
Turned 30. Oh, look at you old man. Fuck. I wish I was turning 30 again in July.
Y'all can leave me out of that conversation.
Yeah, exactly. But but I wanted to be. I thought I wanted to be on camera. I wanted to be on stage all the time. And now it's like the idea of. I mean, this is all well and good, and I'm well accustomed to this, but I'm still not making my own videos yet. I'm not doing any of that. Like that for me is like almost more of a sticking point now, where it's like, oh, I have to be the center of attention.
It's a separate world though, because
it's funny because when I was younger, that's all I wanted, and then now I've been behind the scenes as a tech guy, right? Which is kind of the thing when you get into the tech thing, it kind of sometimes it kind of walks you back. I don't care as much. I didn't care about as being on front of the camera or on the stage. I was okay being the guy running the equipment and making the show work for somebody else. But now that's not. I got to get into that mindset. Oh, you got to be back on the.
You got to chase that apprehension because that complacency and that comfort is really what's going to hold you back from anything, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because your first biggest obstacle is yourself. It always will be, right? And if you can get out of your comfort zone, you can get into the pressure zone, is what I like to say. Like
pressure zone.
I was telling
There
you
we go.
yesterday when you were over working out, when I'm making I make songs for my kids' birthdays just for fun. It's just something I do.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I don't make them until like the week before their birthday.
Sure.
And I can pump out a song in like 2 days, done from start to finish, writing, recording, mixed, done.
Yeah.
If I have 3 months to do it, I can sit around twiddling my thumbs, can't come up with anything good. I get nothing comes
Oh
out.
yeah, that's the whole
But as soon as the pressure's on, boom, I'm there and I'm getting it done.
Yep.
Not even realizing it until it's done, right?
The time. Yeah.
The comfort and the more comfort and complacency you give yourself, that I think the more that you just take advantage of.
There's a saying for that. It's what is it? Work expands to the time you allot it. I think something to that effect. So basically, like, if you give yourself a week to get a project done and it's a hard deadline, you'll get that project done in a week. If you give yourself an open-ended time to get it done, you may never complete it.
Right.
Right. So and I'm realizing that for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's good. Like music-wise, it's like at some point you got to call the mixes done.
Yeah.
Or else you never release it.
Exactly. But
right?
within reason. I mean, if you're feeling apprehension about something, go after it.
Yeah.
At least try it once. And if it, you might fail, but
push past your comfort zone. Get into
at least a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be I'm just realizing the symmetry in this now, but that's like sitting at Jimmy's pub and looking at the guitar player going, "Oh man, he made a mistake. I might make a mistake." It's the same thing now. It's like other people make videos. What if my video's not as good as theirs? It's the exact same thing.
I mean, that's come from. I guess it's not even so much a worry in that respect for me. It comes from a slightly different place, a psychological place. Yeah, it's more of a question of I don't know, for lack of a better, I guess, like personal worth. Right, where it's not so much that because I know there's lots of people out there that are better, but I know I could also be better than lots of other people. But there's just something about
it's not about being better.
I know
what you mean,
but that was just for the analogy, right? Like it was more like an issue of.
Y'all hear that? In the
I
microphone?
did hear that.
That compressor caught my throat gurgle.
Yeah,
Good thing I got a fucking ride here today. Jesus Christ. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, for me, I guess it's just it's something where it turned around from the introvert in me taking over too much. I guess maybe to describe right to where it's like I'd rather just be behind the scenes, quiet. Nobody can see me. I'm not out there. And it's so weird because when I start doing even shit like this, it's like there's something turns over in my brain, and I just, it. I know I'll be fine when I do it. I just haven't done
Social
it.
anxiety.
Yeah. I don't know.
Are you an introvert or no outrovert? What is it called?
Extrovert.
Introvert, extrovert, outrovert.
You know, I have a foot in both both
see,
sides. I
that's
think
healthy
because
though. That's healthy.
Well, I do too, but I definitely have learned that you can have a foot in both, but there's a certain core.
It's like
Jesse's
80-20, 70-30.
Jesse's an extrovert.
I'm full-fledged
Very
extrovert.
And
Like I get to the point where I'll start getting bitchy with everybody. If I just like go walk through a bar, even I'll feel better. It's wild. I just need people around me.
yeah,
and I feel better.
I'm the opposite. Where if I'm around people for too long, I need to isolate because I need to my recharge time sometimes comes from being alone. But I do that too much, and then it starts to become negative. But without it at all, I get really frazzled and fucked up. Right. So, but I know what you mean because I've had to learn, I guess, to be an extrovert because of my job and because of being in bands and things like that. It's given me that ability to seem like that sometimes. But in my mind, if left to my own devices, it's more like Jesse will go out to the bar, I'll stay home. Right, like that would be
all right. Well, in those terms, then I guess I would say that I'm an introvert with extrovert tendencies.
Yeah.
So like Kevin from the podcast, my roommate or whatever, he is very introverted. Like he will even when we're all home and he's not upset, I'm not upset. Like he'll just go into his room and close his door and he just wants to be by himself. But if
I'd be like that too. If I was around, living with a bunch of people, I would absolutely be locked away in my room.
If he's cooking, there's never enough people. There's never enough people. If Kevin's cooking, oh my God. And he'll be like, yeah, man, you want this person to come? I don't even like that person. Bring him over. And we went for my birthday. We went to Golden, BC, and I ate a bunch of mushrooms. And we walked down to the river, and we met 2 tour guides. And they were like, hey, you're trespassing. And we're like, oh, my bad. We're like, do you want to come party with us? And Kevin was like, can I cook? And it was like, oh, shit. I thought Kevin was going to be worried because he's so introverted, right? But he was on top of his game, man. He ran that whole party. It was like everyone has a little bit in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone has a little cult in them. It's a little bit of cult.
A little bit of cult in them, yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing, right? I don't think anybody is ever 100% one way or another with any personality trait. I think we're
that's
all
fair,
fluid to a degree. I think it's just how much of a, is it this much or this, where do you end up, right?
And that could depend on the day too, right? And what's happening in your life from someone else's life. Too many variables to be, pinpoint that.
It's never 100%, but like I said, for me, it's sometimes I need that alone time, but too much of that alone time is bad. And then being around people actually gives me it recharges me a little bit, and I've noticed that too, hanging around with you guys.
But then for too long, it'll be a bad thing.
And then, if I was hanging around, if I was at your guys' place every day, I would get burned out, right? And I would get start to get squirrely. I wouldn't be able to I would need to to have my just me alone, nobody around time, right? I'd need
just quiet.
that. But like I said, sometimes I lean too much into that, and then that's a problem, and that becomes I become too isolated, and I start getting fucking weird.
Dave gets a little squirrely.
I get a little weird and squirrely, no joke, I honestly do, right?
Breaking out the OnlyFans.
Well, yeah, but that's when your mind goes the weird places, right? When you're alone for too long, because then you nothing to break that feedback loop, right? If you don't have something to break, and sometimes because then it's okay, if you're on a good trip, that's fine. If you're feeling great, and creative and whatever, and that's when sometimes I've written the best music, is when I've just been completely alone for a long time, but in a good state. In a bad state alone too long, and you just dig into the darkness, and you find yourself deeper in the hole, and it's well, that's not good. Then you need somebody. I need somebody to pull me out of that,
right?
And then it's then being around people resets it, back alone, okay again, and balance.
You need both. You need both worlds there. I mean, humans are inherently social beings, right? That's just our nature.
Yep. Yeah. You need to be able to reproduce. You need to be able to keep yourself safe.
Doesn't mean you always have to be around people, but you need people no matter what.
At least, to some degree.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? It's the more I learn about myself, the more I appreciate the people around me, and the more that I'm not lost in the chaos of it. And so it's funny how being selfish makes you better at being not selfish. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's being selfish though.
It's I spent a long time saying no to things that I didn't have to say no to until I sorted out my space so that I could say yes to things and be myself in those situations.
But that's not selfish.
No, but momentarily it is.
That is self-preservation at its core.
Oh, so see, that's poor dad advice that I'm feeling. Dave and I go back and forth on this all the time. Okay, so explain, elaborate.
So you're thinking you're being selfish by saying no to what other people are requesting of you because you're trying to better yourself or get into that place where you're comfortable. Then you can, come back to society, so to speak. Right? That's not selfish. That's you bettering yourself. That's you preserving your own self so that you don't blow up, you don't go to the dark place.
That's such an interesting perspective.
You don't start getting squirrely with everything, right?
Yeah. Interesting.
So that's not selfish at all. That is you. And if anybody ever calls you out on being selfish for doing something like that, then they just don't understand where you're coming from.
See, and that's the thing, because like back to the bodybuilding thing, it's like when I was losing the weight, like I would celebrate things, and I'm a very extroverted person, so I would celebrate publicly. And people would call me selfish for it, but I didn't realize it was self-preservation, because it's like I was so unhappy with how I was that I was miserable, and it affected everything I did, every little thing I did. And so it's like I wanted to fix that. And how to fix that? Feel better about myself. What do I need to change? Myself. So it's like I changed everything, like my outlook, the way I talk, the way I dress, the way I look, like everything. I cut all my hair off, 17 inches, man. You knew I had long fucking hair. So did you, right?
Yeah, I've been there.
You know what I mean? And it's like that's a really interesting perspective. That just blew my mind. Here I am.
There you go.
Yeah.
Light bulb moments every time. Brought to you by Green Athletics.
Green Athletic.
Athletic Greens, sorry.
We're gonna start Green Athletics.
Pour me another drink, yeah. When we get that weed sponsor.
Green Athletic. Yeah, that's what it is. Green Athletics.
Yeah.
It's weed for sports use.
Yeah, that's it. No, I appreciate that. Self-preservation. I'm going to have to remember that.
Yeah, it's not being selfish. And then there's another whole side of that coin too, where other people's perception of you is also skewed by their own life and what's happening there. And,
100%.
so, people who are looking at you saying you're being selfish, maybe there's something going on in their life and they're perceiving it that way because they're not on the level. They're not thinking straight. They're in that dark place right now.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's being selfish because they're not helping them out of where they need to be helped out of, right?
And that's the crazy thing. It's just the same as this podcasting, man. It's like this just sitting here talking with like all my friends that I haven't talked with in a long time has done so much for my brain. It's like, I just stopped talking to people. And it's like, I talk about this all the time. It's like anyone out there listening this far in,
this far in,
like anything I could do to help, man.
Of you
like,
that might have made it this far.
No, man, they've been growing every week.
Have they? Yeah.
Yeah. I've been selling my soul to get the views. Don't you worry. Athletic Greens, come on. Just kidding. But no, it's exciting, man, and it's really neat. Like it's cool to see how people. Yeah, you better pour another one.
Just a little one.
Just a little one. How often, like in a month, do you have alcohol?
I'm gonna have to answer that with a decimal.
Really? When's the last time you had a drink?
Oh, I think I had a beer about 3 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I almost feel bad.
I mean, it doesn't bother me because I used to drink a lot. I'm
Yeah.
okay with not drinking, but I don't have a reason to.
Actually, I was saving this
You know?
for when it would come up organically, and I'm gonna force it right now.
Oh.
So Matt and I worked out yesterday, and it was the first time I saw Matt in what, like 10 years, 8 years?
Yeah, probably.
Oh wow.
Probably. Yeah.
Oh, that's why you kept being like, "Oh yeah, have you talked to Matt lately?"
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know, like a month ago. Like,
No, I was blown away. But like what I was,
guess that's a while. I don't know. What are we talking?
but to the self-compassion side, like I like since I have seen you last, you're obviously a different person. I'm obviously a different person. But I would like to apologize for my old self, because there was a night where I promised I would come do sound for your band,
Digging
and I
deep
got
now.
so fucking drunk that I don't even remember it happening. And I remember, man, like
you don't need to apologize. For
no,
that.
I do. And maybe not for you, but for me, I have to, because I think about it probably once a month for 8 years.
Oh.
Just for the record, you did do sound that night.
I know.
for us.
I did do sound
It
that
was
night.
it was interesting.
I could imagine. So I'll tell the story, and I don't want this to be an excuse, because it's not an excuse, but I'm going to tell the story because it's funny.
Okay.
So I was trying to move into a friend. I've lived at the house, so I'm pretty sure we were just talking about moving in together. I think, and it was like me, a friend of mine, her now husband, and another guy. And we went over there, and Buddy was like, "Hey man, you're a big guy. I'm a big guy. You drink Yukon Jack or something like that?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I drink Yukon Jack." He's like, "Yeah, I have that and absinthe." And he's like, "And we're doing 50-50." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, of course, right?" I had no clue. I was like 18 at the time.
Yeah.
And then I show up at the bar to a metal fucking concert, like stumbling, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do sound tonight."
I'm pretty sure Richie had to like carry you in like on his shoulder.
That sounds about right.
You know what? Now, I'm starting to remember something about this now.
Yep.
I don't know if I was
Dude,
there.
it was.
It might have been. That
It was.
Bo
It was
Diddley's.
talk of our circle
it?
for
Bo
sure.
Diddley's.
Bo Diddley. Yeah, I played there. Yeah.
Yep.
You might have been there.
I have felt bad
Was
about
I
that
playing
night.
there that night with you guys? Were you doing sound for me too?
I
You
only
fuck
ma-
my
I-
sound up
no,
too,
I only
Jesse?
mix these guys. We don't. Warby and I donated the sound system for peanuts, which was fine. So I've done that
Well, yeah,
a bunch
of
of times,
course, when you're
and
gonna
I've
show up that
supported that a
drunk.
million times, and I'm for that every single time. And I ruined that. That was my fault. And
You didn't
so,
ruin it though. We
no,
still
no, no.
played. We still had a good time.
Oh, and from what I heard, there was only parts that were weird, but the majority of it was good. So,
Only
but
parts
nonetheless,
that were weird.
nonetheless, man, I just wanted to take a minute and say I'm really sorry for that night.
Well, I'll accept that. I mean, I don't need it, but for you, if you need to say sorry, then I'll accept it.
Then I appreciate that because
But-
like I'm not kidding when I say I've thought about it at least every 4 weeks for like probably 8 years.
Funny how those things happen.
Wow.
Like I think we all have those little things that stick in our head that it's like, oh, I said this to somebody that time, or this thing happened, or you remember somebody like something that someone did to you or said to you, and then you mention it to them, and they're like, what?
Yep.
What fuck are you talking about?
See,
I don't even know.
100% of
you
my
know.
anxiety comes from a perception of me that I cannot handle. And for 8 years, I've thought that you guys all thought I was a drunk asshole.
Not at all.
Yeah, I know, and then it comes back to the podcast again. It's like I'm sitting here thinking about my faults while you're sitting here thinking about yours, and nobody has time for each other.
Well, while we're ripping that Band-Aid off, let me just throw this out here to Kevin and the band Fail. Because apparently I was an asshole back in the day. I can't remember. This was in the zoo, I think.
The zoo.
Yeah, we drank your beer when you were on stage, and that was wrong of us. That was a dick move, and we apologize.
Back then, they probably weren't drinking them anyway.
That's what I said. They weren't even drinking them
It
yet.
doesn't matter. It's
Weren't
the
even
principle of the
drinking 'em
thing.
at the
It's-
time.
It's the principle. So my
Cheers to
official
that.
apology
Cheers
to
to
Fail.
Oh man.
Cheers to you, Kevin. The beers you didn't get to drink.
I
that
invited
night.
him out tonight because I thought he wouldn't want a podcast today because they do their podcast Wednesday mornings, and he told me they didn't podcast. So then it was just too late. I was already coming out the door. He had to eat, and otherwise he would have been here.
Oh shit.
But since we're all cleared up and everyone's all happy with each other,
Yeah.
I haven't aired my grievances yet.
Dude, Dave's getting squirrely again.
I got things to say. So and so back in 2013.
No, but what I was thinking is like Matt's got this wicked setup and rig in his house. And he also doesn't want to be in a band with a bunch of fucking husbands like the rest of us don't want to. So I'm thinking we should just send each other some projects and see what we come up with, right?
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Because he's like not just I always just classify you as a bass player because that's what I know you as, and a singer songwriter. But he plays fucking everything. He's got a real banjo.
Yeah.
He's got a fake real banjo that's even more real than my
There you
banjo.
go.
Like he's got everything, man.
Nice.
Would you call those metal things?
Oh, kalimba.
Oh yeah.
Get a lot of little percussion instruments and. Oh yeah.
We could do a Christmas album. Oh, you already got that covered. What else could we do? It's my 30th birthday. We could do a 30th birthday party.
Yeah.
Jesse's birthday album.
No, I don't want to start that because someone's gonna take it literally, and we're not gonna do that.
Well, maybe we'll do that.
Yeah. might just be on the cards now. Yeah.
You know what though? Like, so when it comes to like preservation though, it's got to be interesting being like, cause like, what was your old like, but pre-kids? You'd go and be in your band. You'd go play bass, write music and stuff. So it's like, what do you do now to fill that same space?
Well, I'm busy all the time with kids, and my wife works, in the evenings sometimes, and so I work in the daytime. We're on opposite schedules a lot of the time, and then when we're not, then we just hang out, and I'm just busy, and so I fit music in when I can. But I mean, I do miss it. I used to go over to a friend of mine, Tyler's house, like 2 to 3 days a week after work, just straight over there, and we just play guitar. We'd write songs. It was a blast. I miss those days, but people grow. People they get lives, they get families. They've got other obligations. It's just a part of life. And if you don't accept that and move with it, you'll start to get in that dark place and start to dwell on what could have been,
Or
what
there's
used to be.
delusion involved.
Well, that too.
And
That's
I'm not gonna
dangerous.
say names, but yeah, there's definitely delusion in this city.
That's a dangerous place to be too. But yeah, no, I'm just busy all the time. So
like you have very good language around like poor mental health. So I'm curious. I don't need to know all the nitty gritty details, but like I'm curious how you came to those revolutions.
well, a lot of soul searching, I have to say.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm a book reader.
Like
I
anybody
read
else, I went
everything.
through a lot of hard times. I didn't actually read a bunch of books until recently. Actually, last couple of years, I've been reading more books. But I think a lot of it's just talking to different people, like yourself, right? There's just these conversations. I've had a lot of these with other people too, and it just you grow with it. Excuse me. You learn certain things. You take stuff that other people say and you apply it to your life, and then you decide for yourself, yeah, that's true or that's not true. And then you start to form your own ideas of yourself. You become more self-aware, and stepping away from where you were, like where I was as a person in the party scene, always partying, drinking, doing drugs. Stepping away from that and doing a complete 180, you can step back and look at what you used to be and where you want to be. You take the time to stop and think, where am I going with this? Right? Am I going anywhere?
Does this serve me? Right?
Am I going to be a rock star?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, or realistically no, then what else is there for you? Right? If you don't start to think about where your state is mentally, and where you want to be, you're just going to go down the wrong path. And I've had friends who have gone down the wrong path, and I've watched that happen, and it breaks my heart. But there's a point where you have to step back and say, I cannot be there for you anymore because you're dragging me down with you.
It's
and
enabling.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
And,
Dude,
and they don't understand. Some of them don't understand, and that's it. You're done. You're no longer friends. You don't speak. It is what it is.
That's more of a self-reflection, though.
Yeah, but I don't blame myself for that. But I've had a lot of time to think about where I was going, who I was as a person. I did not like it, so I had to change.
And that level of self-awareness is very rare these days, I think. And maybe that's just because I spent so long not having that same self-awareness, so I attracted people that didn't have that. But I'm starting to it's few and far between, man.
It's easy to fall into that trap, right? It's easy to get into the game and just go in that revolving circle where you just can't get out because the more you're in it, the less you realize you're in it, right?
Well, because again, you start justifying it, right?
Yeah.
And it's man, one of the biggest things I'm trying to notice is I don't want to have excuses for anything, and I'm starting to really understand what an excuse is. And until I understood what accountability was, it took until then for me to be able to be okay, I'm making excuses for dumb things I don't need to make excuses for, and I need to get over those, or I'm never going to get past that. And I just don't think that that's a revelation that people come to.
Well, it's emotional intelligence is what it's called.
Yeah, versus right. Emotional intelligence versus regular
It's
intelligence.
not just yourself. You need to be aware of the people around you as well.
Yep.
And how you react to people is not just, how do I say this properly? How you react to people's emotions can change their emotions and your emotions, and how the whole situation unfolds.
Yeah, because you can exacerbate a bad feeling, right? Like if something's going, if you're getting a negative response from someone in whatever way, right? Like confrontational or whatever, you can either pour fire or pour gas on that fire, or you can try to pour water on it.
Yeah.
Right. And that will change where both people's states are.
That's right.
And will affect how the outcome of that interaction, and whether each person leaves feeling okay about that or whether you don't. Right.
Yeah.
And I've personally learned that sometimes it's better to just concede certain things.
Just let it go.
And let it go.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like,
it's not worth it, right?
In my mind, I know I'm right, but is this really worth it?
Right.
No, it's not worth losing a friend over. It's not worth causing a rift with somebody you work with or what, right? Is it really?
Absolutely.
Like, there are a few things in life that are, right? Like, there are certain lines that you just can't cross, and it is what it is, but most things, man, it's all trivial bullshit. And if you get wrapped up in it, and then if it starts out negative, and then you keep taking it down the negative road, and you keep pushing, and you tit for tat, you keep fighting fire with fire.
Yeah, everybody gets burned.
Everybody gets burned, man. Exactly. Yeah. Eye for an eye. Everybody's blind, right?
That's right. But to be fair, sometimes you need to mirror. Let's take anger for instance. If someone's angry at you, you can't just be calm, because if you are, depending on the situation, that makes them even angrier, and they're going to
Some
walk
people,
away.
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So it's
There's two pursuits to that though, because you can do what's called I'm gonna butcher this, but you can do what's called guiding people. So like at the gym, people would come and they would yell at me over something, so I would yell right back with a big smile on my face, but I'm just matching the intensity, and then I would guide them back to a normal conversation.
right. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
The mirroring.
Yeah.
You mirror somebody to bring them down.
Yep.
Right.
Well, to
But you can
bring-
guide them anywhere though, because you can guide them through a sales cycle. You can guide them through like an emotional, like doctors do that, right? When they come in, they're excited to meet you or to see you. They try to hype you up a little bit, and then they have like it's scheduled in like 2.5-minute segments for some doctors, right? But like they'll go through. It's literally like almost it matches a sales or a marketing cycle, just because it, like the psychology is so sound in making people be more responsive, be more open, be more honest, like all those things, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you're saying about matching people and whatnot, because there are certain people that they don't respect you if you. They need to see a certain. I get
Exactly.
that. I
Yeah.
get
A certain
that.
amount of putting your foot down.
They need to see a certain amount of fire, right? Like they need to know it's like, oh, okay, yeah. You especially I think with guys, like that's kind of a thing, like kind of a little bit of a measuring stick sometimes, where it's like, okay, how far can I push him? Like,
Right.
who's the boss here?
Yeah.
Right. Like what can I get away with? Poke. Oh fuck. You know. Oh. Okay, 2 pokes. I get 2 pokes is as far as we go.
Yeah.
And
But,
3,
but
turn,
again,
you know what I
it
mean?
comes down to
And-
like is the poke to evoke something, or is the poke just kind of natural, and then people are managing it? Well,
I
right?
think
'Cause it's-
I think to
It's
a
a
lot
case by case.
by case, like because some people there's no poking at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just a coexistence where, but other people need to.
Some people just want to yell at you, no matter if you're yelling back or not, and they just need to get it out, right?
Yeah.
When we're talking about anger and high intensity, sometimes you just need to let them do it. Like you were saying before, just is it worth it to get into it, right?
Yeah.
You know what? This guy's gonna scream at me either way. So let's just let him scream.
And I think it depends on
on.
what it is, what they're screaming about. Because sometimes is this a personal attack of something that I have done to cause this with someone, or is this somebody had a shit day or a shit time
Taking
with
it on
somebody
you.
else? Yeah, and they're coming in hot on me,
Yep.
just because I'm the next fucking human
You're
in
there,
line,
yeah.
right? And like it has nothing to do with me. I think to me, there's a difference of how I react to those situations as to whether it's. Like if this is just somebody coming in and they need to basically use, you got to use you as the therapist. Yeah, you're the punch bag. You're the therapist at that time. Okay, I get what's going on here. This isn't like a personal attack at me. Like you're not, like, you know what I mean? Like there's a difference in that level of confrontation because it's not that personal. Oh, I did something, or this I'm perceived to have done something, and now this person has something really against me. There's another issue here.
Right.
You're going to treat that in a different way.
But the point is, you're aware of it, right?
Yeah.
You were thinking in those terms, whereas someone else might not be. So your emotional intelligence is up here, and you're prepared because you're aware of what's happening. You're aware of your surroundings. You're not just pure anger or pure sadness or pure emotion.
Just always react.
Exactly. So I mean,
well, it's like life can happen to you or at you.
Yeah.
Right?
that's a good way
You know
to
what I
put
mean?
it. Yeah.
Like, and if you're just taking it swing by swing, man, like of course you're gonna be angry and cranky and yelling at people and throwing punches. But like if you're happening with life, it's like then it's on your terms now.
Yeah, like if you're exerting a little bit of forethought and you're kind of thinking about your own actions, I think if you're reflecting on yourself and how you are affecting other people, that in and of itself is going to kind of change a lot of the interactions you have with people, because then you're going to be more cognizant of the fact that you are affecting others, and the fact that you are affecting others means that you need to be aware of it and
Hopefully.
conduct yourself as such.
And as a
right?
bonus, you're gonna start to attract like-minded people who are also aware.
Yeah.
And you're gonna grow your circle that way, which is, I think, a really good thing, because we all have different circles that we've come from, or we've been. I used to float in high school through different circles of friends and different people.
Yeah.
But you don't until you really get to know someone and you're really aware of their state and your state, emotionally, mentally, physically. You don't really know, who's your real friend, who you want to hang out with. But I think naturally, when you start to become aware of these situations, your emotional intelligence is up there. You'll start to attract the same kind of people, or the kind of people that you want to be around.
Yep.
That compliment you instead of take away from you.
Yep.
Right. mentally people can beat you down and you wouldn't even know it, right? Like that.
Oh,
a lot of people fall into that trap.
That's the worst part of the toxic relationship, right?
Well,
Exactly.
And I mean, I think that's like when you're younger, you're more susceptible to it. At least I was.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
And you're less aware, generally speaking.
Well, you're not as mature.
Yeah, you're not as mature
mentally and emotionally. Yeah.
And it takes some time to build that and to develop it to where, like I said, you are aware of what you're doing, and I think that's the thing, right? It's just becoming aware that you affect others, and if everybody did that, we would all be in a better position because. Jesse's feeling.
I'm just ruining Dave's point. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Jesse's just feeling. We're partying. I mean, I'm
feeling
fucking.
myself.
I'm feeling pretty good here now too.
We're gonna grab another bottle of rum here.
But yeah, well, it's just in the freezer. It's right over there.
You know what though? Like, what's the golden rule? Does anyone know what that is?
Yeah, he who has the gold makes the rules.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that
No,
I think that's Game of Thrones. No.
do you want to others what you want done to yourself? Is a golden
do
rule,
unto
right?
others as you have them do.
But
to
see,
you.
like the empathy side of that means that, like, so if I go on vacation and Matt goes on vacation, Matt wants to talk about his vacation, I want to talk about mine. So do unto others what I want done to me. I'm going to ask you about your vacation because I want you to ask me about mine. And I can't.
I guess in some sense,
I can't decide. That's how I perceive that, and I think that was actually I got that from the How to Win Friends and Influence People. But it's like you can't just treat someone nice and expect them to treat you nice back, because nice to me, nice to you is different. And who's right?
But what's the intent behind it? Because now the only reason you're asking me about my vacation is because you want to tell about your vacation. Right?
Yeah,
so
but is that not wrong?
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying the intent.
you can probably feel it.
Yeah, like
right?
I might
You
know.
can sense
I
it a
might
little
think
bit.
that you're just fishing for
Yeah.
me to ask you.
So, but
right?
to that point though, like if I want you to be genuinely interested in mine, then I have to be genuinely interested in yours.
But you don't.
Why not?
Because you shouldn't have to be, anyways. You
know what I'm saying though.
I know what you're saying, but for me personally, the people that I'm around, you shouldn't have to feel obligated.
No, of course not.
Right?
Of course not. I'm like what I'm saying is like if
I'm interested in what's happening in your life because you're my friend, and I know you've been on vacation. I'm going to ask you regardless.
Of course.
And you're going to want to talk about it anyway. I'm going to know that because you're my friend, right? So,
but what if I was the kind of guy that went on vacation and didn't want to talk about it? We probably wouldn't be as close just because we're not the same kind of gel, right?
Not necessarily.
I'm not saying that it's not possible, but I'm just saying we're probably more likely to get along if we openly talk about the things we like than if we are more quiet, because we're all talkative people.
Well, it depends again on your communication. Like if I know you personally, like I know you that you don't like to talk about that kind of stuff, I'm not going to ask you. I might just be like, hey man, you look tan, must have had a good time. Great. So what are we doing tonight? You know, I might know that and pick up on that. Doesn't mean we can't be friends because you don't like to communicate the way I do.
That though, right?
Exactly. It's that awareness of others, right? If you truly care about somebody, then it shouldn't matter what they view and what, like, if you disagree, you're allowed to disagree.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're allowed not to have the same likes and same communication styles, as long as you understand that and you're okay with that. And if you care about somebody,
I think that's kind of the issue in like today's age right now is at least that I'm like personally feeling that the idea of coexisting and actually enjoying the company of people of differing opinions is, it seems like it's at a bit of an all-time low, right? Like it's not. People are more sectioned off than they've ever been, right?
Well, it's a weird time. Yeah.
Is that a scarcity thing right now though? Just like there's so little interaction, there's so little social circles, so I have to get my point across and nobody can compete with it.
I mean, it's like we go into a whole different like conversation here that gets a little.
Yeah.
Like, if you ask me
squirrely.
where this is coming from, but like I mean, it's.
People are on eggshells right now.
People are on eggshells, and it's we've kind of been conditioned this way,
Yeah.
and. I mean, I think there's reasons for it in some ways, but
I would agree.
Yeah, like
I know where you're going with this.
you know what I'm saying.
I do.
mean, I think a lot of people do, and I think we're at a point in time where I think there's a lot of people coming around to the idea that we are a divided culture, right? And that's not good. It's not good for any of us.
People are afraid to be themselves because if some person misunderstands the context of what you said, they're offended. it blows up. And unfortunately, with social media, that what used to be just a face-to-face confrontation is now 1 million people attacking you day
Very
and night.
Exacerbated.
Exactly. It's making a mountain out of a molehill, but, times 100.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people are so afraid to even voice their own opinions now. They just go with the crowd. And I think because of that, they're so sectioned off from everybody else.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years, man, that's just been enhanced.
It's that sense of isolation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, truth be told, like for me, the whole idea of this podcast, and why I want to do this way, it's because the stuff that I watch that drew me in. We talked earlier about like being like sitting alone and spending a lot of time alone doing that type of thing. Listening to a podcast where it's just open format, people talking, whatever. It gives you at least that hint of connection. You know what I mean?
Gives you hope that someone else is thinking the same thing.
Well, somebody's thinking the same thing, and even if they're not, it's just you're a part of that conversation, right? Like I guess I'm speaking to the isolation feeling of the zeitgeist of the day right now, which I think is a lot of our problems come from the fact that we are all feeling so isolated and no sense of connection, and like I think there's a little bit of hope in like things like this, not to get too high on it or whatever, but the idea that you can have, like you said, people of like mind, of like ideas, where you start talking about these sort of things and connecting again, and it bleeds out there, right?
Yeah.
And it did for me. Like that's what kind of got me into like thinking this whole idea of a thing would be really cool to do, is the fact that for me, sitting alone in those times I couldn't be around anybody, or for whatever reason, right? Some imposed, some self-imposed. Lots of reasons why I was in the state I was in. But literally, just having people on talking in the background, it made a difference to me, right?
Well, the atmosphere too, the relaxed atmosphere. It
Just
doesn't matter if you agree with what I'm saying or I agree with what you're saying. We're sitting here having a conversation. We're not fighting about it. We're not tweeting about it, or we're not making a big deal. We're relaxed.
Like
it's a good atmosphere.
I used to be a self-described politicaholic. Okay, like straight up. I followed fucking American politics like a sport.
Yeah, you did.
Like that was my sport.
All right.
I didn't watch football or basketball or hockey. I followed American politics, and I was like fully indoctrinated into one side, 100%. You know what I mean? Hook, line, fucking sinker. Whatever was said was truth. Other side, fucking bad. And at the time, I thought this is normal. This is okay. This is like fighting the good fight.
A lot of people do,
right?
Yeah.
Fighting the good fight. I look back on it now, and it's like, I can't believe it. Like, I fell for the shit that I was thinking I was watching out for the whole time. You know what I mean? I grew up very distrustful of authority and, the power and the influence of power from all these. Well, I mean, he's called the man, yeah, for sure, right? There's, government, religion, big industry, whatever, right?
Everyone's got some cult in them.
But that's the thing, right? Like, I realize now I fell for something. To a certain degree, right?
But you can admit it.
I admit, and I realize it, right? I realize it, and I fully embrace now the fact that it's like, holy fuck, this can happen to anyone. I mean, I'm not, I'm not Einstein. I'm not whatever.
No one
but
is.
But at the same time, it's like the fact that, but I knew I wasn't a dummy either, right? And I thought I was aware enough of this type of thing, and I knew that it existed, and I knew that indoctrination is a thing. And was watching in my mind, thinking that I was watching for it, but didn't realize that it still had occurred, right? So
well, it doesn't matter what you think you're watching for, because you're watching it, and that's the point. Whatever you feed into yourself,
whatever you put in, whatever you put in, exactly. And so I guess to that point, like it's been probably a couple of years now. Cut all that out,
right?
All the cable news shit, all fucking gone. You know what I mean? I've been off Facebook for getting close to a month.
Well, good for
I think
you.
3 weeks, something like that.
You gotta start a new page though.
Just not. Well, I know, and I mean,
start one.
here's the thing.
To the younger
Fall
viewers,
back
that's
into the
social
dark
media for old people.
Yeah, Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah,
Facebook isn't as popular anymore.
Yeah,
but,
it's this thing from a million years ago.
back when we used to watch MTV, we would share it on Facebook.
yeah.
I stayed home
yes.
from school in grade 7 to watch a Sum 41 music video that came out.
Oh well, there you go.
But
Music
fuck
videos,
school. Like,
yeah.
What the?
But speaking about politics in old
Yeah.
times, if you look back into the 90s, let's say, let's just take the 90s for example.
Yeah.
Politics was very central.
It was very racist.
There was there were some far to other side of spectrums, right? There are some people that are way out there, but for the most part, at least in the mainstream,
It was the
politics was
grouping
very
tighter.
central,
Yeah.
right?
Grouping
And-
was tighter.
And over the years, it's just gone wider
apart.
and wider.
Absolutely.
And now there are very few in the center, and people are either far right or far left or somewhere in that spectrum.
And now
close to the edge.
this is where I argue that is by design, right? And this
Absolutely,
is where it starts
that's
to
by
get
design.
into
That's the division of the whole thing, right?
Exactly, because it's if you engage in like polarized tribal fighting, then you know I'm fighting with you, you're fighting with me, and we're not watching what Jesse's doing at all.
Right.
Right, we're concentrated on
problem.
fucking
That's
taking each other out, and Jesse's fucking just cleaning up, whatever the fuck. We're not paying attention to nothing else because all we're doing is fighting with each
Y'all
other.
didn't even
Yeah.
notice I took both your wallets.
Right,
Y'all are fighting.
That's right.
and that, that is our modern system of politics
Yep.
and
Everything, bro. Because it's like
all of it.
how often
That's
does
what we have going right
Media
now.
in general.
How often are people measuring dicks and they lose their wives? They lose their fucking everything, their vehicles, their houses, their jobs, their
Well, I mean,
promotions,
yeah.
like everything, right?
Yeah, I mean,
That awareness thing, man, is huge. Self-preservation and awareness. That's my biggest takeaways today.
yeah. The more, oh man, like the more you can be aware that, I don't know how do I put this in like it'll give me the least like trouble, but like
We're an hour and a half in, so you say whatever you want, dude.
say whatever I want. Okay.
Athletic Greens doesn't give a
Athletic
fuck in an hour and a half.
Oh man, no, I just think, like I said, there's a vested interest for certain groups of people who make out very well with things running the way they're running, and would continue down that road. Like I said, I thought I was seeing it clearly on one particular side, and I'm trying not to say like one side because I don't want to cloud this, right? Because
Yeah.
as soon as I say what side I was on, then I either get
That's the thing,
Right,
We were talking about
yeah.
this before, right? Right now, you are censoring yourself and
Yeah.
on purpose
on purpose
because
yeah.
you don't want people to take you out of context.
Exactly, and that's been
That's
my
the fear, right?
and that's been an issue that I've noticed, like personally.
Yeah, they're going to miss the point because they focus in on they cherry pick one thing
Exactly.
you say.
So
Exactly.
I was having this conversation this morning, but like if you focus on what versus why, you'll never get anywhere. If it's
good-
you
good way to put
said this, it's like, but okay,
Yeah.
but what was your intent? The intent is the important part. What you
right.
said doesn't fucking matter.
But
'Cause it's in the moment, it's your feelings, it's my feelings, it's how I address it, it's the situation, but it's why.
Yeah.
Why is
the
important.
problem
Right.
is that it's getting conversations to that place with people. And it's all well and good if you're already of that mindset and willing to my problem that I've found is a lot of people aren't open to, instead of the doing the you said the blah, are not willing to peel it back.
Well, because
right? So that's a thing that like to remedy that in people's minds is a whole other thing. That's where this whole kind of awakening, whatever the hell you want to call this, where I see it in other places and other people and other circles of the internet and different things where it's like there's something else that's happening out there now that's starting to come around where people are the disillusionment
it's a
with
freedom of speaking. Like actually it's becoming more of a freedom of speaking. Because like even think about your employees. When's the last time you talked to your manager that way?
well.
Pick any example, you know what I mean?
Well,
it's like there's the freedom of people saying, hey, I know this about me, so I'm gonna be like this, and they're allowed to be like that.
Yeah.
You're talking about now the level of respect that we give each other.
No, I'm talking even further than that. I'm talking that people have, very well off, they have more of a self-respect for themselves, which comes with more language, like just like positive, negative, aggressive, not aggressive, passive, whatever. But that is like, it's opening up a whole nother channel where it's like students in some schools are calling their teachers by their first name, and that's practice because it's just different now. So it's like I'm wondering how much of that is going to like influence what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, I guess in some sense, yeah, that sort of ties in because it like what I'm speaking to like just a general disillusionment of our societal like practices in general, right? Like the way we conduct ourselves in our current systems, it's starting to show that certain things aren't working, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's becoming more and more clear that we can't keep doing this, whatever this is. We can't do it forever. Now the pandemic kind of exacerbated, and I think it really kind of broke open some of some really underlying things that were bubbling up. You know, you could feel it coming for the last like decade, right? Like if you've been like watching and paying attention to like public sentiment about just any issue, right? Whatever it is, you've been feeling the lines have been getting drawn. It's people have been separating more and more, like you were saying. You can feel like there's a certain animosity, right? That's been bubbling. The pandemic kind of took that and just said, okay, here it is, boom, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think we've actually felt the ripple of the explosion of that yet. I think what's happened is that it blew up. The explosion happened. Like it's almost like a, you know, in the movies when you see the atom bomb goes off and there's that second where everything just stops and stands still. I feel like we might be somewhere around there because it's like, I felt it where it's like my whole outlook on the world, everything, it's changed where the direction of my life, where I want to go with things, what I'm doing with my time, how I look at the people I want around me. It's all changed very dramatically, very quickly. And I don't think I'm the only one.
Well,
I think there's a lot of people like that.
You said the last decade this has been kind of bubbling up, but I would say the last 2 decades. And if you trace that back to, let's say, like the year 2000 and up, if you look at it, I think it coincides directly with the internet, the ease of access, and social media in general.
Yeah.
Because more people are talking to more people. Mm-hmm. More feelings are getting validated that maybe shouldn't be or should be, right? There's two sides to that. It's a really good thing, and it's also a really bad thing. Mm-hmm. For example, let's say you've got some freak on the dark web who is, I shouldn't say freak, but somebody who's got some...
There's a freak on the dark web.
Let's say somebody who likes to hurt other people and they get pleasure out of it.
Yes.
They would, back in the 90s or before that, they would hide themselves out. They would not be validated because they know that is not the norm of society. And they may or may not act on it, or it may not go anywhere.
They'd have fewer avenues by which to act out,
exactly.
and less access
nowadays,
to a community.
Yeah, nowadays they have a community who are encouraging this dark side in whatever person who wants to go out and do these bad things. Yeah. So that could be a very, very bad thing, and it's getting worse and worse.
Yeah, that's on the extreme side of
it's just
personal human behavior.
Far on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And on the other side, also people who may be feeling down and who are having feelings, who are in a dark spot and are feeling alone, and they have podcasts to listen to bring them back. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that. It's the other side of the spectrum, right? It's a very good thing. But all in all, everything being bubbling up, I think it directly coincides with our ease of access, our communication, how fast we can access information, and
I think that is a big part of it for sure.
Mm-hmm. Right?
For sure. I mean, really, like we can keep going back through history and look at different events that have occurred over time. I mean,
it's always been progressing in one way or another.
There are certain things that have happened. I mean, if you want to cap it, like say at the end of World War II, when we get into what we call the modern era, right? Things changed a lot, but somewhere around the 70s ish, for how how governments looked at governing their people, their societies,
their pupils.
Things started to change, right? And that affected the types of jobs that were around, the pay of those jobs. That there in turn would affect your basic outlook on life, right? Like I was saying earlier tonight, I felt myself affected by a certain, lack of financial stability when I was younger. And that shaped my outlook on life, right? So you got to think, okay, as jobs get lower paying and less abundant, then
expenses get higher and higher,
and people feel it, right? And you feel that negativity, right? It kind of compounds on itself. Like your outlook on life becomes more negative and more bleak, and therefore that breeds.
And you start looking for that.
Yeah,
and you find it.
And that starts to breed more of the darker negative behaviors, right?
Yeah.
So like I say, and that builds and builds, and because it's only been getting worse. Over the last like 40, 50 years, it's only been getting worse as far as, people's outlook on the future of their lives. Do you think it's going to get better or worse? For a period of time, better. I think my kids are going to do better. My kids are going to do better. Now it's like, no, I think we're going to do worse. We're not going to do as good as our parents
That's
did.
so
right?
interesting, though, because like the perception that I hear is that I will do better no matter what. And people don't have any of the means or the like intention of actually outdoing their parents. Or
I mean,
that's
yeah. I mean, like I said, we took kind of a turn into something else here, where it's like, I mean, yeah. What I'm speaking to is maybe not like the individual all the time. I mean, yes, every individual feels whatever, but as a society, this is the trend that we've been on, right? And it's kind of a thing that's taking us down a road where there's a general sense of kind of hopelessness and isolation, right, that is making us feel separated and polarized from one another.
Right.
It is. And I think now we're at a point where, like I said, with everything that's gone on over the last, I mean, in my mind, yeah, at least 10 to 20 years for sure.
Yeah.
Where it's been ramping up. And technology, I think, is a big part of that because the ease of access.
buys back your time, like you say.
Well, it buys back your time, but it like you can transmit these things back and forth. Like people are getting thoughts across it. So everything's getting faster, right? So yeah, we're getting to this point. The pandemic hit, and I think it broke this almost uneasy sense of this progression that we were on, where everything, this seems normal, even though things are kind of getting fucked. Everybody's getting more tense, it's getting a little more dicey. Mental health is taking a hit. Everybody's feeling the pinch financially. Okay. Pandemic just shuts everything down. Certain industries just got fucking destroyed.
Well, certain like weaknesses became strengths and strengths became weaknesses. Like people who were proficient at not being in society excelled during this, and I did not because I need people.
Yeah, right. So it's affected everybody in different ways, and I think drawing this back around to something positive, I think that, like I said, the bomb.
It's gone off. We're just waiting for the shock waves.
When the shock wave happens, I think there's a change in people's mindsets, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, I've felt it. I don't think I'm the only person that felt it. I'm seeing it around in other places. Little glimmers of hope here and there where people are going, you know what? It's time for a change of some kind. What it is, we're not 100% sure yet, but
we're sure it's coming.
Maybe we don't all like the jobs we're doing. We don't like the way we've been living. We don't like the people we've been associating with. We don't like the people we've become.
Even the way we get talked to, or
whatever, right? We're realizing, okay, we have a finite amount of time on this planet, and do you want to spend it doing what we've been doing? I think more and more of us are going, no, I don't think so, actually. This hasn't been as good of a ride as it seemed like before. When everything was just going and going
There's
and going.
Lots of promises.
And there was no stop.
It's right back to the
didn't
awareness
notice,
thing
right?
there.
Yeah, it gave a chance. I think it gave a chance for a cultural, like world almost, awareness to some degree, right? Where everybody got a chance to go, oh, the whole system just got fucked. It got shuffled around. It got stopped. The old ways of doing things don't necessarily work. What do we do now? And then because of that, it's like, wait, what do we do now? Wait a minute. We could do something different. And we had a taste of it. We had a little fucking taste. And then it's kind of getting reeled back around, right? Okay, no, let's go back to where we were. Go back to where we were. Whatever we do, just go back to where. And I don't want it. I don't want to go back to where we were. Do you see what I'm saying by that?
Yeah,
and as a culture, I think now it's starting to hit.
I know a guy who, friend of mine, who's talked about similar things, and he calls it the breaking. And everybody goes through it, at least in some point in their life, where they just break and they realize, wait, what's happening? What am I doing? There needs to be something else going on here. This is not working.
Absolutely.
Which way do I go now? Right? And some people thrive off of that. Some people don't. Some people don't experience the breaking, or it happens and they just don't realize it. But it's that, again, that awareness, that word, that defines what you do with it, right? And I think you're right. The society is going through something like that right now. But how many people are going to use this to their advantage, and how many people are going to stay and dwell on what's been happening? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the question. But I think, and maybe this is just personal experience.
I see the positivity side. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to put a downer on it.
Oh no, and I'm not saying that at all. I just, I think, even if it's not everyone, I think more people are going to turn around and kind of have a different way of looking at things. Than would have previously, and that's a good thing.
Personally, I've seen people that I would never expected to start looking at things differently are now looking at things differently.
Yeah,
that's what you're 100% right.
Cool, that's what I'm saying, right?
But it's the availability of it, because you find more people that are actually like-minded to you, and you can see that they're doing it. Because back to the internet thing, right? It's like I didn't know many people that were like me, quote unquote, but it's like now I know tons of them.
Yeah, right. And that's where it can be used in a positive way, right? It can be used in a negative way, like you were saying earlier, a little while ago,
right?
In a very fucking negative way in some instances,
hunting people,
like a fucking horrible shit. Or it can also be used to unite people that are of a positive mindset, a like mindset, that do want to see things progress in a better way for all of us, in a more, in what, because you can just tell it. Just the way we've been living doesn't feel right. It just doesn't fucking feel right.
Well, it's so separated from the animal kingdom. Like, look at this TV behind us.
Well, I think for you, when you said now you know tons of people who are like-minded, I think that maybe there's a bit more to that story. I think that they were always like-minded. You just didn't know.
Well,
because people were afraid to express themselves. This whole last decade, it's been. I can't say that because someone's going to get offended and I'm going to get, lynch mobbed.
That's getting worse, though.
Right?
That's getting worse and worse, man.
But it's also getting better.
But
there's more people who are opening up and being like, I don't care anymore. You know what?
Yeah.
This is who I am, and if you're going to kill me, then kill me. Come at me. What are you going to do?
And that's something that I've adopted. It's like, because I'm a white kid from southern Alberta, may as well be fucking Texas. I was raised by a half English, half Frenchman from a little tiny island of like 800 people. I don't know how to pronounce all y'all's names from all over the world.
You are super white.
I am very white. I'm as white as they fucking come. And I try my fucking hardest, man. And I am an ambassador. I'm a gladiator for all these fucking different, everything you could ever imagine. I'll support everyone. And I still get in trouble for it all the time.
Well,
so then why are you going the extra mile unless,
it's
individually? For you, sure. Okay.
I mean, I don't think you have to. I think you just have to be a good person, right? Like, I don't think you have to worry about all this shit. Like, as long as you're a good person, you're a good person.
It's intention.
Right? And it's
Kevin said that before.
Just be, don't worry about like.
It's good, like that intention.
Yeah, like don't worry about how. Yeah,
bad.
All people are going to say all kinds of things that people are going to say, right? So don't worry about that so much, right? Like, it's just.
Yeah.
Just be a good human to other humans and
drink your athlete greens or green athletes.
Stop letting fear lead your life.
Yeah, that's it. Stop living in fear of. Stop being afraid of life, man. Like I said, like life can happen with you or it can happen at you, man. And it's like, may as well let it, control it a little bit, run it a little bit.
Control the things you can.
Yeah.
And
forgive the things you can't.
Just roll with the things you can.
Yeah.
Speaking of rolling things with things, we've gone through 2 memory cards and 1 camera.
Oh, wow.
A whole other memory card and 1 camera, and we're coming down to the last and the other. So I am going to put the kibosh on this right now.
Oh.
So Matt, thank you so much for coming here
buddy.
today, my
Thanks
friend.
for having me.
Well, we can all
cheers
cheers
these empty glasses.
We'll see you again, my friend. That was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
man,
hope
that
we
was
have you back
great.
soon.
Thanks for having
That
me.
was a good
Yeah,
convo.
of course.
Yeah.
We'll see everyone again soon.
Ciao.